Hey everybody, wow, I think we are finally live. I am so sorry. On behalf of Restream, Facebook, and whoever it is that is having a hard time getting us on there, please share. Please make sure to let people know what's happening. But we do want to apologize. It is 6:26. We were supposed to start at 6. We are going to be going tonight until 7:20, just so you know. So we're still going to have enough time to be with our friend Ben Clifton, who is our guest tonight, and you don't want to miss him and Adventurous Apologetics and what is ahead. So thanks for sticking with us. We hope that you're out there. We're broadcasting only on Facebook tonight. So, oh boy, those that are in Restream later, those that are used to, YouTube, we apologize in advance. You're getting this a little late. We usually have a bunch of folks coming to us on YouTube, and we don't have it. So just to give you a basic understanding of what's happening as you're starting to come on board, we use, and I'll throw them under the bus right now because they've been giving us problems, a company called Restream, and they broadcast our software and our live stream to multiple places. And they're the ones that send it out to Twitter and to YouTube and to Facebook at the same time. Unfortunately, we went to go live tonight, and it just kept airing out. We rebooted. Oh, we did everything.
Yeah, it's pretty frustrating.
Now, I did not stand on one leg while singing, And Can It Be or anything like that, but
you need to lay hands on the computer.
Yeah, it was crazy. So
pray,
we apologize for that. But the good news is we've got Ben Clifton in the green room, and he is going to be coming soon. We're going to talk about that, and we'll introduce you to him, and we look forward to that. So, but we just want to welcome everybody, and it'll be a little clunky as we try and, go through our normal intros. We want to welcome you, though. And what's our disclaimer that we say every night?
Hey, well, we're here because we want to create a space where we unapologetically, which is a word, by the way, that we're going to use a lot tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Create a space that we can promote Jesus and grace, and we're striving to learn to think and live like Jesus. We believe in a triune God who loves us right where we are, and he calls us to live out the good news where we live, work, and play, and when technology doesn't work in our favor.
That is a fact.
So I say, who was it that always used to say, this is a test?
No,
we had a
missionary.
Friend who's always saying, this is a test. England, so I think we're going through a test.
Yeah. Well, hey, if you find value in the content, please share it. Share with the community. Because we're experiencing this together. Please take a moment to share it with someone else. Invite them to join in the conversation with us. And as we've been saying, share. That's right. Always be sure to hit that subscribe button and bell in YouTube. Of course, it's not YouTube tonight because it's but if you're getting this on the Restream, in YouTube, we'll put it up there. Make sure that you do that as well. And then share with others. That's the main thing, is just share with other folks because that's the best way to get the word out. But subscribing does help as well. It helps keep the algorithms and helps us know who we're connecting with. So that'd be great. So, hey, if you're there, we want to know tonight because our audience is going to be low. At least it was because, we lost the first 26 minutes. So people came on and going, where are you?
Where is everybody?
But I'm sure there's a few folks. We see them. We see some folks on there and got some thumbs up, some people that are coming through. And so that's fantastic. And yes, there's finally a hooray, and yes, from Mom Bircham, and glad that you find us late. But hopefully others too will be joining us a little late. We see some of the numbers clicking. Let us know where you come from, and you don't want to miss the opportunity to connect with Ben Clifton tonight. And Adventurous Apologetics, who we're going to introduce in just a second.
But first, we've got some highlights.
Okay.
What's going on?
Well, the highlights for this week, first of all, we are back in Oregon City. The rolling mobile here. We're not sure if it's Big Mo, if it's the Ark. We still haven't quite named this bad boy. But we are here in Oregon City, and we are going to be leaving this Saturday. So just less than 48 hours heading towards Hawaii. Yes, we will be doing a retreat, a vacation for Jennifer and I. Aloha. And a week of research that we're going to be doing with, everyone says, oh, Hawaii research. Sure. We're researching the beach. Yeah, good one. No, we actually have a bunch of retreat spaces and partners to connect with while we're there, and going to be on a couple different islands. And actually, I think we're basing in Maui, but I think the days that we're going to Kona or Kauai, like one day, we like get up in the morning, we catch a plane, we go there, meetings, and then get back that night. Yeah. So it's crazy.
It's going to be fun though.
Yeah.
It's a good adventure.
But we want to remind you, no live stream next week. Okay. Next week, we're going to focus totally on our Hawaiian retreat. So almost didn't have one this week. So crazy. But we will be packing up all the technology here into my carry-on bag, and we will be ready to go live from Hawaii, but not next week. We'll be going the week after that. So we'll check back with you on the 23rd, and that will be great. In 2023, the retreat dates are live. Just so you know, those that have been with us know that we're going to be doing retreats for pastors and leaders, hosting them, caring for them. And so really want to encourage you. You will enjoy the beautiful lodging, the breakfast each morning, and some opportunities for soul formation, all at no cost to you. Both Careth Springs Lodge and Eternal Impact will be covering those expenses. So please check out the details on our website, eternalimpact.org, eternalimpact.org for more information, and that would be fantastic. So when you're there, swing by, sign up for the newsletter. We want to keep you informed. We tend to be over communicators. We were having a donor meeting this last week, a couple of them, and people are like, okay, so now what are you doing? It's like, all right, we just sent the newsletter out. So we tend to send a lot, but we want you to be informed. So just check it out, and that would be fantastic.
We also want to take a moment and just say thanks again to our sponsor, Eternal Impact, and all of our champions that have come alongside us. And just thank you for allowing us the privilege of serving you, serving pastors, to be able to do a live stream like this. It's such a privilege and a joy to work with you. So thank you so much for that opportunity.
Yeah, big time. Well, and we do have some, just want you to know, we even have a groupie. We have a groupie on here of Adventurous Apologetics, and it's actually, it's Ben's wife. Yes, she says, look at that. Happy to see you on. So where's that handsome guy of mine? Well, hey, hold on. He's coming. He's going to be there. But real quick, we want to do a flashback. We always do a flashback to the previous show. Last week, you'll remember we were with Adventurous Life and an invitation to an adventure with God with Brian and Marianne Remsburg. So I want to just give a quick flashback out of chapter 2 of their book. Okay, chapter 2 of the book, Your Adventurous Life Awaits. Okay, so you've got that book, and there's going to be a giveaway tonight. So Jennifer will give you the question as to what it is coming up, and we're going to be sending you this book, or someone will when we fly to Hawaii. Someone will get this book to you. So be ready for that question tonight, and you could be the winner. Of course, if our audience doesn't continue to grow, most people are going to get this on Restream. We might have to find out a way to give a gift for the restreamers, those that do it afterwards too. Yep. But we'll see. For those that are coming on a little late, we did have some technical difficulties, so we're going to be going till about 7:20 tonight because we didn't start till 6:26. So we're zipping through fast, and we're going to go a little extended because we want you to be able to have some time with Ben. So Adventurous Life in this book, or Your Adventurous Life Awaits, in chapter 2, the chapter Explore Possibilities. That's the second coordinate. There's just quote in there from Brian and Marianne. It says this: living adventurously is looking at new possibilities to venture into unknown territories. No shutting down ideas before they even have an opportunity to grow, because they might seem scary without being able to control the end result. Now, I just want the flashback. We have had several people comment, about this. By the way, several people have already commented, said they picked up the book on Amazon, which I think is great. That's fantastic. But this is what I want you to be reminded of. It can be overwhelming sometimes when we hear God nudging us in a specific direction. And throughout history, the story of God has him intersecting humanity. And sometimes it's a specific leader, a man or woman that he's calling for a specific task. But either way, he's coming in and reminding us we're actually not in control. We don't get to control every aspect of our life and our future. He wants us to submit to him and give him opportunities. And part of that opportunity for him to work in our lives is for us to explore opportunities, to say, okay, I want to give it a chance to see what might be out there. What is in the stirring that God is doing in me? You're going to see our guest tonight has had that happen in his life. You'll hear a little bit of his story and how that is fleshed out and is currently happening. But that's really important. And that's the flashback that I want you to be able to think about tonight, is that it's okay to explore new opportunities. Sometimes it gets scary and we think, I must not heard right. I'm out, but it's okay. And even us, I mean, we're in an adventure, 31 years of marriage and ministry and stuff. And we're doing some major pivots that things are going to look so different. And so we're exploring opportunities right now that God has put before us and waiting to see how he wants to navigate us by his Spirit to the next season. So I just want to encourage you. That's my flashback for this week. Remember, explore those new opportunities, and that'd be awesome. So tonight we're going to be exploring some other things. That's right. We're going to be exploring the deep with Ben Clifton, and we're going to find out a little bit about what that means, what it means to explore the deep, and why when we talk on apologetics and that it is a bit deep. But it will be practical as well. I want you to know that tonight. It's not going to be in the weeds. It's not going to be, so deep that we can't, be grounded and hear and learn and grow together. It's really going to be great. So I want to introduce to you our friend. So Jennifer, why don't you share with us a little bit about our friend Ben?
Yeah, we're excited to welcome our guest and our very longtime friend, Ben Clifton. And many of you will know him as one of our team players for Eternal Impact for the last several years. You've probably had interactions with him. However, Ben has a passion for apologetics and teaching that has grown into its own ministry, currently called Adventurous Apologetics. So Eternal Impact is excited to come alongside and help him launch his new dynamic ministry. So we're going to dive into what that is and learn a little bit more about his unique calling. So welcome, Ben. We're glad to bring you on.
Hey, Ben, thanks for your patience, buddy. It's been a little crazy.
You've been very patient.
But yeah, we're glad that you're here, and you're actually unmuted, I think. Are you unmuted now? You're muted, your guest.
I am unmuted now.
Oh,
and you should be able to see me in all my glory.
This has been
and all my handsomeness.
Yes, and all your handsomeness, yes, because your wife is out there, as a fan, commenting and filling the thread with great stories about you. She's actually putting a bunch of love notes up there right now. No, she's not really. But anyway, hey, great to have you, bro.
Yeah.
Really fun. And again, thank you for your patience as we figured out the whole technology. And we do have folks joining us, and some of them will be joining on the restream. So that's why we wanted to make sure and go forward tonight anyway, so that others can be able to hear and grow in this area of apologetics. So if you are live tonight, you can be giving comments. And remember, I know we're only on Facebook tonight. Again, sorry, YouTubers. But if you're watching this on the restream in YouTube, because we do have a following that does that, we will give you information if you have questions that you can send right to Ben, right to him. And he loves interacting and connecting either on a Zoom call or through email. And so great opportunity for you to connect. But hey, Ben, let's talk a little bit tonight about just kind of helping people understand what apologetics is, because it's a big word. We have theology. Theology is the study of theo, God, ology, studying. So theology is the study of God. However, we know there are many disciplines within the study of theology and other areas, even philosophy, etc. So let's take a minute and just let our guests know what apologetics is. So what is apologetics?
Well, that's a great question. And I'll start by saying what it's not.
Yeah.
What's
okay.
that?
We only ask amazing, great questions. But yes, tell us what it is and what it's not.
Well, what it is not is saying sorry for what you believe. Saying sorry that I believe in Jesus. Saying sorry that I believe in what God has given us in his word. No, it's really simple. It's just answering why we believe what we believe. So theology is more like studying what to believe. What does God revealed in both His Word and in His creation? Apologetics is the discipline of developing answers for why that's true. So, we may say something like, I believe in Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior because I read it in the Bible. But then somebody might say, well, why would you believe in the Bible? Why do you think the Bible's true? Now, that's a good question. So that apologetics is all about answering questions about why we believe what we believe. So that's really it's defending the faith. If you look in the Bible, we actually get the word apologetics from the Greek word apologia, which is the word that Peter used in 1 Peter 3:15, where he says, always be prepared to give an apologia for the hope that you have within. And that word apologia is an answer or a defense. It's almost like a legal term. If you're a lawyer making a case, it's that process. So it's giving answers, it's contending for the faith, providing reasons for why we believe what we believe. I like to say it this way because it's kind of catchy. It's the why behind the what. So we teach a lot about, you go to church and you hear the gospel. That's the what. Apologetics is providing the why answer behind the what of what we believe.
Cool. So there's an element, obviously, of giving an answer. That's in the apologia. It's the giving an answer and being ready and prepared, which means sometimes it takes preparation. We want to be thinking through some things ahead of time because that's the be ready part, right? So it's okay for us to dig into these things. And I know sometimes there's a certain camp that's like, well, maybe we're more experiential, and it's like, well, we don't need to know everything. We just need to, have the Spirit of God and he'll lead us. Well, there's no question. Peter, first of all, and apologetics is not saying we don't need empowered by a triune God, that the Spirit of God doesn't need to be the one, empowering us to communicate. But just like you're preparing for a message or you're, whatever, you're preparing to have an answer. And so I like that. And it's also, there's an element of defense in there, isn't it too? I mean, not because we're defensive, about it, but it's fair that if someone is coming on the attack, so to speak, in other words, they're bringing a worldview or a premise that's doesn't bring honor to the Creator, it doesn't amplify a triune God, it isn't loving, then we can respond by giving a defense and an answer. Would that be fair? Is that part of apologetics?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's both defending for or defending against false ideas, but it's also contending for the truth of what we believe to be true. And so it's kind of a two-edged sword, so to speak, where we are bombarded, especially this next generation is just bombarded with worldview ideas that may or may not be true.
Yeah.
And a lot of those worldview ideas are going counter to what we find in Scripture, what God says is right, our culture says is wrong, and what our culture says is wrong, God says is right. So there's just a lot of questions that need to be addressed and need to be answered. So apologetics is the discipline of not only developing good answers for those good questions, but it's also just the process by which we answer those questions. So it's both the head knowledge, but it's also the how do we communicate those answers in the most effective way, in the most loving way, in the most persuasive way. Because really what we want to do is we want to bring people to faith in Christ. That's really what it's about. And part of that is not only hearing the gospel, that's evangelism, but also coming to an understanding of really why I should believe this. Why is it true? Give me some good reasons. Why do I even believe God exists? Why do I believe that God is true? Why Christianity and not Islam? Big question that is universal is, how can I believe in a good, powerful God when there's all this evil
Yeah.
all over the place?
I've heard
Now,
that
that's a tough
question.
question.
Yeah, sure.
It's a good
Yeah.
question.
I think we all ask that
So,
at some point.
we all ask that at some point in our life, and it deserves a good answer.
Yeah.
And so apologetics is simply, like studying theology as a discipline. Apologetics is the discipline of developing those answers and learning how to communicate those winsomely, persuasively, truthfully, and in a gracious way that really causes people to think about what they believe and why they
Yeah.
believe it, and ultimately discover that truth is found in what God has revealed. And we see that it's an exciting time to be engaged in this because there are so many great answers. So it's fun.
Yeah, it's true. So
Yeah.
I know we're going to get into some of those here in just a minute. Matter of fact, Jennifer, if you could, maybe, if you've got some questions around that in a sec, let me ask one quick question of you, Ben, to kind of connect the dots where you were saying that sometimes we need answers, and, we hear the good news, and we shouldn't be afraid. We shouldn't be concerned when we are, if we use the term in Christianity, evangelistically, that word means good news, proclaiming good news, evangel. But if we're giving good news, but someone has questions, because it's like, okay, I get part of that, but I'm still wrestling with grace. I'm still wrestling with the Trinity. I'm still wrestling with Jesus as God. There's all those things. So they may be hearing good news, and the Spirit of God may be drawing them, but their mind isn't yet renewed. They haven't connected, the dots from what the questions they have to faith, and they may be stirred in the Spirit. The Spirit supernaturally of God may be drawing them. So I'm saying that, kind of laying that out, because I know your story. Jennifer knows your story, right?
I was just thinking that.
Yeah. So I was just thinking, why don't you just give, just in a couple minutes, because I don't want to take away from so much more too we want to ask and interact about, but share just a little bit about your story of when you came to a understanding as well as a regenerative relationship with God through Christ. Talk about that. So just share us a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, no, that's great. I will share just a little bit about my testimony, but let me touch on one thing that you said there that I think is really important, and that is that apologetics is about resolving doubt. Okay, and we all have doubts, and so even Christians who know that God is real and Christ is real and He's changed their lives, we can still walk around with doubts about like how we would address some of the tricky questions, and those unresolved doubts can actually hold us back from sharing our faith. So apologetics isn't just for the unbeliever to show them why Christianity is true. It's also for the believer to strengthen their faith and their conviction, so they're not intimidated by sharing their faith, worrying that they're going to get asked some question that like they're not going to be able to answer. So back to my story. So I grew up in a non-Christian home, and in fact, it was a bit anti-Christian, especially from my dad's side. He really didn't see the whole message of Christianity as a good one. In fact, he saw it as a little bit of a bad one. And and I'm a technical science engineer type. And so as I grew up, I really embraced kind of a worldview that centered around that science had really answered all the questions in life, and these religious ideas were superstitious and archaic, and why would anybody believe them in this day and age? So that's kind of my background. I met my wife, who was a Christian. I mean, who is a Christian, but when I met her, she was a Christian, and we hit it off, and everything was great except this Christianity thing. And I figured, I'll get to know her. I'll talk her out of her old superstitious ideas real quick, and then we'll be good to go. Well, it didn't work quite that way. And we got married and had kids. And to make her happy, primarily, I started going to church with her. And so I would sit in the back row and I would have my arms folded, thinking, these crazy Christians, why are they believing what they're believing? Mm-hmm. So I did that for honestly about 4 years. And I wish I could say that it was some brilliant reasoning that finally broke my heart and, had me cry out to him. But it was really his spirit that just reached in. And one day it was like my turn. And so I committed my life to Christ. And really it was a heart transformation way before it was a head transformation. Mm-hmm. So after that experience, I was like, well, what is this that I believe, and why do I believe it? And so I started digging around a bit, and lo and behold, discovered this whole world that at the time I didn't know the word apologetics, but I discovered that there was a whole discipline of answering the very questions that I had. And, particularly in the intersection between faith and science, that's really where a lot of my questions were, a lot of the challenges that I had. So I was privileged to connect with a couple ministries that were really focused on exploring that relationship between science and faith, and really resolved a lot of my questions, but opened up a lot more questions. You know how it is when you start asking questions, you just you discover, you get hungry for more, and there's just more and more and more. So for me, it was really an exciting time early in my Christian walk to not only, be transformed in my soul, in my heart, but also to be able to pursue him and love him with all my mind.
Good.
And so,
that's cool.
So at the time, providentially, it turned out that there was a little Bible college that started up out of the church we were going to. And it worked out that I could go to classes, like the very first morning class before I went to work. So I started taking classes, and before I knew it, I was like really in the world of loving the Lord with all your mind. And apologetics was part of that. And, long story short, I ended up getting so interested in apologetics. I helped lead some local ministries here, and ended up actually going back to school to get my master's degree in Christian apologetics, really giving me that academic foundation. Mm-hmm. And so, so that's kind of my journey from my saving faith moment, and then my walk growing in
the faith.
In that.
Yeah,
that's cool. So, and go ahead, hon. Did you have a question?
I was just going to say, so it sounds like when I'm looking at Adventurous Apologetics, your ministry now, that you're into, if I'm hearing you correct, you're trying to create a safe space for Christians and non-Christians alike to come with their questions, the questions that we all have. And mm-hmm. in this day and age, in this culture that we're in, and I know you're working internationally as well, so you're dealing with multiple cultures, but these various worldviews, I can't think of a time that it's more important than now to be able to stand firm in what you believe and really understand what's taking place. What are some of the questions that you're being asked in that they're dealing with on a regular basis?
Yeah, well, there's a pretty short list of the most common questions that always come up.
Yeah, what are a couple
in any conversation?
Give us a couple of them.
I already mentioned probably one of the biggest ones, which is, if God is real and if he's all loving and all powerful, then why do we have all this suffering and evil? Why doesn't he come and fix it? So that's a really good challenge. And it turns out that that subject matter is the main topic of the very first book in the Bible that was actually written down. It's not the
Right.
first book that you find when you run in, when you start reading the
Right.
Bible.
Just
But
historically,
as far
chronologically.
as historically, it was the first one that was written
Yeah.
down. That's the book of Job.
Yeah.
So it's a question like that. Then we've got questions like, how do we even know God exists? That's always a big one. Then there's questions about, did Jesus even exist? And how do we even know that this miracle, his resurrection, he was dead, and then what? You said he comes alive? Nobody comes alive after they're dead. How did that work? Why do we believe that kind of miracle? And then, in today's culture, there's a lot of questions about, like I say, the intersection of science and faith. Like, what about evolution? And doesn't that go against the Bible? And how does that all work out?
Yeah.
And then we get to the here and now, where we've got a lot of changes happening in our culture, especially with regards to identity. Who are we as human beings?
Yeah.
Who are we? Are we really made in the image of God, or are we made in an image that we can just decide what that image is? And how does all that work out? So, there's a never-ending list of questions. Here's one thing. You mentioned that a lot of my work is happening internationally, and that's really true. And I give all thanks to my time with you guys in Eternal Impact for first connecting me to Uganda and East Africa.
Yeah.
And for what I'm doing now in apologetics, I've really actually moved from doing that mostly in the Pacific Northwest to now doing it mostly in places where apologetics, this whole thing, is a mystery, and they don't know about it, and it's brand new to them, and they don't have resources like we do.
Which is
So it's
saying a
been
lot,
really
right, Ben? Because the truth is most, our audience is predominantly Protestant and Catholic, Christians. Those, Orthodox, probably majority evangelical, but, all that fall under the pale of Orthodoxy, would be our audience. There may be some that aren't, that are hanging out and that are part of the show and are getting, insight. But even in America, it's not the, most people, you say, talk to me about apologetics. And like, what? What?
What am I apologizing for?
And we've talked about this, right, Ben, before, where it's like, we need to come up with a new word, a way to say it, because it's just, we're fighting an uphill battle. Yeah. But really, not everybody needs to go back and get a master's degree like you did, which is amazing. Goes back to Biola, transitions in job, goes to full-time ministry. And that's a gift that the Lord has done in and through you to allow you to be his spokesman and his servant in that way. But it's for just all this. I mean, you kind of mentioned that it's okay, just to question. And it's like, when we're questioning, it's better to voice them and to even ourselves dig in and get an answer than to try and pretend like we don't, and we really don't have an answer, but we just say something to ourselves and others. Well, you just have to have faith. Well, if that's the case, then you can believe anything. So I just think it's cool. I want to talk a little bit more about the connection with international and things like that, but I just wanted to recap. It really was a cool point that you're bringing up, and you asked Jennifer about some of the questions that others are having now. But I just want the listener to know that it's okay not to have all the answers, because we
questions.
Don't. Yeah, but it's a process. And just so you know, there's some other people that are commenting too. Matt, good to have you on there. And Matt said, covering up Ben a little bit with that stuff that comes in, but he's saying, spot on. It's what Paul says, to work out our salvation even though and believe in God, Philippians 2:12. Continue to work out your salvation with fear and trembling. Yeah. And it's true. We do work it out. It's not something that, we grow in our faith. Being a disciple is learning the disciplines and learning what it means to to hear the voice of God more and to operate and understand. And the word of God's confusing. I mean, the canon, which canon? The one from 25 BC, or AD, or 325 AD, or and all of that. Just putting all that together, and it is a process. Also, Cora, put on here, we always like to kind of just put some of these things. She's got a long message on here, but just said on there, it's a little too big for me to put on the screen. It says, I like the explanation, what the Bible says about apologetics, and that it's a Christian apologetics, according to 1 Peter 3:16, needs to be gentleness and respect. Apologetics helps others develop an intellectual and reasonable examination of the Christian message. The goal of apologetics is to strengthen the faith of Christians and to attract others to the gospel, which I thought was just kind of cool, is the idea of when we're saying good news and being willing to wrestle through our message of good news, that's where the Holy Spirit of God is the one that draws. No one comes to the Father but those that are drawn. But our mind and our heart together working, just like your story, Ben, is to a point, it's like, well, okay, I'm being drawn. I'm not understanding all this, but I need some questions answered. I need to, understand some things. And that's pretty cool. I mean, I just think that that's really cool.
Well,
so thank you.
Yeah, it's not only cool, but for some of us, and I'm one of them, once you get a taste of it, it's really fun. I mean, this is a fun project. Just like it's fun to read scripture and start to understand it. And, that's a lifetime, process of learning what God has said. But the process of then building a foundation of solid reasons for why it's true, that is a fun project. And it's always exciting to have maybe a lingering doubt that you might have, or you don't really, it's not like I'm losing my faith kind of doubt. It's like, if somebody asked me this question, I would have no idea how to answer it, and I'd be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So when you move and you discover a great answer to that question, and the light bulb goes off, and you're like, oh, I get it now. That's a great experience. It's a fun experience, and it's really for everybody. John, you said this really well. One of the problems with apologetics is that, just at the get-go with the word, it just conjures up kind of this ivory tower kind of head, all these.
It's intimidating.
I want to say people smoking pipes. I don't think they're smoking pipes. You know what I mean?
Sounds pretty good though. I mean, come on. Why is that
very
so bad?
Intimidating. It's intimidating. And like anything, yes, you can go very deep in it, but also it's very accessible. Like the handful of I've got 5 main questions that people always ask. And, the answers to those can be boiled down into very succinct and clearly understood answers. So it's really for everybody. And so, that's what motivates me. I've had the experience. I've had that aha moment where, I've experienced that joy of seeing why this is true. And I love to share it with others.
I think you're spot on too, Ben, when you were talking about the fact that when we don't have a solid answer, it does affect our witness, because I know for myself, I might shy away from somebody because I'm afraid they're going to ask one of those questions and I'm not going to know the answer. And, I can always say, hey, that's a great question. I'll find the answer for you. But I would really rather be able to give an answer in the moment. So I think it's a beautiful thing that you're practicing that and diving deep with people on a regular basis and creating that place where they can rehearse those and really get a deeper understanding of what they're standing on. I think that's really, really important. So you started to talk a little bit about your international work, and I think that's probably the adventure part of Adventurous Apologetics. Can you kind of go into that just a little bit?
Certainly. So on my very first mission trip with Eternal Impact, I went with John and a couple other guys, and I had no thought at all about talking about apologetics or doing anything. In fact, as I reflect back, I had an attitude like, well, this is not relevant to people in Uganda. Maybe they won't even understand what I'm talking about. I mean, kind of not a good attitude about it. But one of the times we were there, we had the chance to share our testimony, and so I shared mine, and I included a little bit of my testimony about apologetics and kind of explained what it was and why it was impactful for me. And afterwards, this young lady came up to me and said, I loved what you talked about apologetics. I've been interested in apologetics all my life. Uh, I'm actually studying for my PhD in molecular biology, and I have a dream about learning apologetics someday too. And I was like flabbergasted. And it really, the scales dropped from my eyes.
Yeah.
And she took me over, and I met with a group of young people, kind of the after service kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they were just full of questions. And I was like really surprised that a lot of the questions that they were asking are exactly the same questions that
Yeah.
young people here ask.
Yeah.
And so that planted a seed. And so I came back from that first trip, again, no idea about apologetics, with this kind of like awakening saying, hey, I wonder if I could actually do apologetics. So the next year I went back again with Eternal Impact and did way more than bit off way more than I could chew, but discovered that there is a hunger, there is a excitement, there is a need for apologetics in developing places where, unlike here, they don't have ready access to it. There's not a thriving community of apologetics ministries. There's not resources at your fingertips. Yeah. And so that really built onto this vision of who's doing this work of going on mission, but really not to go dig a well or to care for orphans or build a church, but to go and plant apologetics, equip them with good reasons why we can believe this to be true. And so, again, long story short, I just was so blessed to see that alignment with the core mission of Eternal Impact, but seeing a need for a focused approach to that. So that's when earlier this year we launched with a couple partners. We launched Adventurous Apologetics, and our mission is to take apologetics on mission to where it doesn't exist right now. Yeah. So that's what I've been doing, and it's been really fun. I've been to East Africa 3 times now, and our newest team member is going to Honduras in November, and then to Brazil. So the Lord has really opened up doors in Latin America. So we're excited to explore some opportunities there. And
that's
so
cool.
it's needed all over the world.
Yeah.
It's needed here. But really my call and the call of the ministry that we've created is to take it on mission, take these good answers, good reasons on mission to places where it doesn't exist right now.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I know you've had the opportunity also to connect via the internet and actually holding classes in the epicenter here in Oregon City with students in Uganda, which was really unique. I mean, that was a neat way to use the technology at our fingertips. You didn't even have to go to Uganda to get that class started.
It's been a total blessing to have things like Zoom to be like now ubiquitous. I mean, even in Uganda, you can Zoom with people. That's just opened up tremendous opportunity. Yeah. It's not a substitute for going,
right?
But what it does is it gives you that relational connection when you come back, that you can keep that relationship going. And like you're saying, we're 11 classes into a 16-week course that is training some emerging leaders on the basics of apologetics, really getting them grounded and whetting their appetite for more.
Yeah.
And being able to do that, remotely, just opens up the whole world. So we have a great vision of growing what we're doing and spreading it all over the place. And the technology, thankfully, is there to really support that goal.
That's cool.
It's been really fun to hear and see how you're thriving and growing. You're going to go far.
For sure. Yeah, very excited. Well, we want to talk about that. We want to give an opportunity for people to be connected with Adventurous Apologetics. We want to give them the opportunity to find out more, to connect with you, Ben. And we know that we only have a few minutes left. It's hard to believe. It just goes so fast. Even we started late. Those that are coming on late, just, here on Facebook, we actually had to bag out on our YouTube and Twitter broadcast tonight. We're doing Facebook only because we had some technical difficulties that we could not master in time. So we launched at like 6 or 7:26 tonight. So we sped through, but we've had a lot of great time with Ben Clifton with Adventurous Apologetics, and it's such a gift for us to have you, bro, on with us because again, this is just a live stream that we do, living it out. And Living Out Livestream is about living out the gospel, where you live, work, and play. And part of that, when we love the Lord our God with our heart, with our mind, and with our soul, our mind is part of that. It's all connected. We are a being connected, and it is important for us to be able to be challenged and have answers, and to be able to get those answers. And I want people to know, I want them to hear tonight that it is okay when you have questions in your faith journey. It doesn't mean that you're not an authentic follower of Christ. It doesn't mean that you're doing something bad. It just means you're human. And it means that you're working through some things and working out your salvation, as was mentioned already by a listener out of Philippians chapter 2, as Paul talks about. And that's what we're doing. And so I really just want to encourage people. In a minute, we're going to be given information, Ben, for Adventurous Apologetics and for them to be able to connect with you. And you've been so open about your willingness to connect with people. And that's really awesome. But I just want people to hear that. I want them to know that when you have questions, when you are, concerns, and there are things like, man, I don't really have the resources are there for you. And Ben may not be the resource, but he may know of other resources. Or you may want to stretch yourself by looking at opportunities for trips that are coming up. And Ben's going to be taking some trips international that you may want to be a part of. So stick close to us. We'll be announcing when those come through as well, either through a newsletter by signing up at Eternal Impact, or going to Adventurous Apologetics and just signing up for their newsletter. And Ben does a great job at communicating through that. And so we just want to encourage you to do that. So Ben, before we kind of wrap up the interview time, just I want again to talk to people about the best way that they can reach you. And one of those ways is Adventurous Apologetics. And we've got it up there right now on the screen so that people can see that. That's adventurousapologetics.org, adventurousapologetics.org. And you can go when you go, whoa, I really messed up that. I don't know what I did with the words, but it's like, wow, that was like serious. I'll just put it up there. Man, I'm going a little crazy. But you can go to the website and you will see there the missions, reasons on mission. And so I want to encourage you to do that. So Jennifer will put that as well in the thread so that people have that, but I want it to be on the video specifically so that people that aren't on the thread getting this in a restream through YouTube or any other way, that they make sure that they've got that at adventurousapologetics.org. So Ben, let's just, before we wrap up, and we do have just about 1.5 to 2 minutes, tell me just anything else that's just kind of on your mind. If you had a 60-second, wrap up of this is what's on my heart, or how you want to connect with anyone out there.
Yeah. So first, I would echo what you said. Questions are good. Questions are good because they lead us to discover answers, and that grows us closer to God. So absolutely, questions are fine. Doubts are okay. They motivate us to address them. Then the next thing is that If this piques your interest at all, just recognize that, like I said, this is for everybody. This isn't just for people who have master's degree. And with Adventurous Apologetics, there are many ways that you can connect in. And what I'd love to do, what I like to do most, actually, if you go to our website, you can go down to the Contact Us. And if you fill that out, the thing I like to do most is just connect with you. If you're local to the Portland area, let's have coffee. If you're not, then let's get on Zoom and just get to know each other a little bit and see what the Lord might open up for opportunities. You can join us with our classes. We have presentations that are just one-off subjects, all the way to come on mission with us. If you'd like to come to Uganda or Honduras or Brazil, and apologetics is something that's on your heart, then you could join us that way. But really, the best thing is, connect with me. Send me an email, fill out that Contact Us form, and we'll get back to you and start a conversation.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, again, that's adventurousapologetics.org, adventurousapologetics.org.
I put it in the notes.
And you put it in the notes too. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure people get that for watching on a restream so that they've got what that is. And Ben, it is again, huge privilege to have you a part of our lives. Yeah. You have been just a great partner to have in ministry over the years, and we're thrilled to see what God is doing now and what he's going to do in days ahead through Adventurous Apologetics, both here and around the world. And so stick with us, friends, and stick with Adventurous Apologetics. It'll be exciting to be a part of it, and I think you'll be blessed. I know you will by connecting. So, Ben, thanks, brother, so much for being with us. We are going to we have to leave enough time for a couple dad jokes and for a giveaway. Yeah, so we want to let people know that are out there right now, and the audience is small tonight because of our, hiccups, digital hiccups. But we're going to be asking a question. And so get ready for your answer. It's you're going to be getting a book, Your Adventurous Life Awaits, which kind of ties it, Adventurous Apologetics.
There's a lot of adventures happening
for sure.
Here. So should I give them the question?
Yeah, give them the question. Okay, what is the question? And remember, when you respond back, tell them what they got to respond back.
With A:. That's
right, A:.
Okay, so here's your question. What's the name of the ministry that we're highlighting tonight?
Ooh, and I'm not putting it up because it's already been up there. For the win, ladies and gentlemen.
Give us the name of the ministry we're highlighting.
We just need to know. Now, we will say goodbye to our friend Ben, but we will be giving that prize away right after a dad joke. And so if you have that name of Ben's ministry organization that has so clearly been noted, just put it in the thread, and your book from Brian and Marianne Remsburg, Your Adventurous Life Awaits, will be coming to you this week. So Ben, thanks again, brother. We love you, and we will we'll look forward to seeing you face to face, not just digital, here in the weeks ahead.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right. Bless you, bro.
All right.
Wow. Well, very fun. Fun to have Ben there. Oh, wait, I put the thing. You can't have that. That's cheating. That's cheating. Whoa, what's going on there? You can't see that. Anyway, put it up there in the thread, if you will. And we want to see someone giving that answer coming through. I know we don't have the YouTube crowd on here, YouTube and Twitter crowd, so it's a little smaller, but make sure to let us know, those that are on there. We see people on, so put on there what the name of Ben's, just write it in the thread, and the book's coming to you. All right, and remember, we got some dad jokes, and
while
just a
we're
couple.
Waiting for you to respond,
so here it is.
There, so I wanted to know if you knew, what did the pickle with the big ego say? I'm kind of a big deal.
Okay. All right. Maybe it's all right. It's not bad. Not bad. All right. My wife is always saying that I don't have good, view of directions. I just don't know directions well. It made me so mad yesterday. I just got up and write. Come on, get it? I didn't laugh. Right? Okay. All right. Well, that's not bad. All right. Any other before we...
Okay, well, I was kind of confused last night. My printer, it was playing music. Turns out my paper was just jamming.
These are bad. These are bad this week. I can't even do that one. And our printer's so bad at the office that actually brings pain to me. Just no. I am getting you away from the sound effects. No more sound effects for Jennifer.
Love the sound effects.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, listen, people, we love you very much. And look at that. Boom. Comes on. Rebecca Bircham coming your way.
Hey.
Adventurous Apologetics is the name of the ministry of Ben Clifton. And so check it out at adventurousapologetics.org. And Rebecca, look at that.
Woo.
AKA, when I first met Rebecca before she was mom, it was Becky. Remember that?
Yeah.
Becky Bircham.
I
used to remember that. Boy, it's been a long time ago. Do you know
hey,
that
Mama,
that was...
you're going to have to come pick this one up yourself.
That's right. Yeah, we're not shipping that. No, we might. We might ship it.
That way I get to see you.
Yeah, we'll ship it. All right.
Well,
hey,
folks.
You're beautiful people, and we want to thank you again for your patience tonight with the hiccups. I don't know what else to call them. And that's the way it is.
Remember, next week we will not be doing our live stream because we'll be in Hawaii. So you won't want to tune in next week, but we'll be back and we'll let you know. And thanks for interacting with us on this live stream. And we created this venue to provide a practical and interactive way to help you and others living out the gospel. So remember, we won't be here next week, but we look forward to seeing you again 2 weeks from today on Thursday, October 26th.
And if you love our show or you stand with our mission, please consider giving a tax-deductible donation at eternalimpact.org. eternalimpact.org.
Well, until next time, we genuinely pray that the joy of life and the gift of His grace will be tangible in and through you as you live it out. Have a blessed week.
Bless you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.